This conference will now be recorded. This
So
conference will now be recorded.
yeah, so as I said, right. So for example, okay, if you have like multiple sources, okay, multiple retail shops, right? Let's say suppose okay, some retail shops maybe storing data in Excel, some are okay, storing the maybe uh, SQL database, some retail shops and okay, storing okay maybe Oracle, okay, different sources, right? So if you have data, like for example, just think about okay, company leadership team. For example, let's just think about like a CEO and then CFO. They wanted to understand like how many, what is how my business is doing in across all retail shops. So they cannot, in this case, because data is sitting in okay, multiple places. So that okay, CFO, CEO, they cannot go to the multiple stores and then okay, they can see, hey, how this store is doing the business, right? So they cannot do that actually. So only thing is right. Okay, maybe we need to bring this data from all these different sources, heterogeneous sources, and then okay, maybe okay, we need to consolidate the data and then okay, keep it at one place, right? So that okay, that end user can come to this okay, one particular database and then okay, they can see the data, right? So for example, that's concept called, for example, if you see, yeah, right. So basically, okay, we need to bring the data from all the data, all these sources, right? From all these sources to at one place, one centralized repository, so that okay, here okay, this repository is having data for all the stores, so that okay, if we can build any report on top of this repository, so that okay, that end users can see data easily and then they can see they can like analyze the data how particular store is doing and then they can see all kind of trends in which region in which time zone okay then okay, a particular store is doing the business and then like from past okay maybe 1 year or 2 years of the data they can analyze the data and then okay, take the decisions accordingly in upcoming years. That's how they will take decision makings, right? If you think about the leadership team, they see the data how it is performing okay, each and every region, every store, and then accordingly okay, they can okay, allocate the funds to the upcoming year so that okay, they allocate properly so that okay, then effectively they allocate the funds to the each and every store and then they get the optimal ROI, return on investment, so they get okay, good out like profits out of the uh, business. So in order to do this okay, for example, right, so let's just suppose okay, here are the okay, we can say that okay, these are the users, right? Sorry. So users will be yeah at this end, and then okay, we have data is sitting in okay, multiple places. So these users okay, doesn't know anything about technology, right? So they don't know like what is that. Maybe Excel, maybe everyone must be using. They can connect to the Excel and then see the data. But if the data is sitting in multiple disparate data systems, data source like SQL Server and then Oracle, end user doesn't know about okay, these databases. They don't know how to connect even. They don't know how to like bring the data and then okay, combine all the data from all these sources and then okay, generate the aggregated consolidated report. So in order to get this data into the one place, so in traditional BI, there is a like term called ETL, right? Okay, extract, transform, and then loading. So this is what when you say extract, okay, we are extracting data from um, multiple sources, and then transform means okay, you clean the data because at the time of inserting the data into the system, right? Okay, then it's not the clean actually. So sometimes okay, you'll get some white spaces while entering the data, and then okay, then sometimes okay, you get okay, some kind of maybe raw data, so which is not okay For example, let's just suppose, okay, sometimes okay, we give a discount for a particular product, right? So you have like no total what is the product amount will be there, and that discount amount is there. So then you'll not have measure which combines okay these two metrics. Okay. So when I say metrics, people who doesn't know about okay BI, so metric is okay. You can say one the amounts, like for example sales amount, for example product amounts, all these amounts, right? Okay, we'll call it as a metric in data warehouse terminology, and then we call sometimes attribute also. Attribute is nothing but okay, all the textual fields. For example, name. Your name is okay, then one attribute, and then location, geography, right? And then all this comes under okay, then attributes. That's how we'll call it as like you must be knowing you might have heard dimensions and facts in BI terminology. So dimensions will store all the textual information, and then facts will store all the amounts, and then with respect to those dimensions. So so these kind of transformations when you are pulling the data, and then for example sometimes you get okay maybe first name and then last name in different fields. So but in the BA system, in the system, in the database, you need the complete full name. So you need to concatenate okay first name and then last name and then load into the full name. So those kind of transformations you might want to do at the time of loading the data from all these sources into the this database. This is nothing but it's a database, but it's a specially designed. So when you say sometimes we call it as data warehouse. Data warehouse is nothing but okay database, but it's specially designed for okay reporting purpose. That's why we call it as a data warehouse. So there is no difference between okay database and then data warehouse. Data warehouse is also just a simple database, but it's especially designed for reporting purpose. So in normal database, if you know about normal database, they will be like no built on top of normalization rules, like first normalization, second normalization, and third normalization rules. But whereas in data warehouse, we don't do that. We have some kind of techniques called schema called Snowflake schema and then star schema. So it's like denormalized. Mostly we follow the denormalized process in the BI set. So that when I say normalization, so each and every property will be split into the multiple tables. For example, let's say you have product category, and then subcategory, right? These are the different properties. So in case of normal databases, since we follow the normalization in the normal database, okay, we use different tables. Okay, three tables for these all these properties. Each property will have its own table. When it comes to the data warehouse, we combine all these three tables into the one table. That's called denormalization, right? We store all the product category and then subcategory information with a single table. Why we are doing that? So if you think about, right, okay, we always thinking about end user perspective, right? So at the end of the day, so you need to okay, build a report, right? So then your report should be the performance should be very optimal, right? So but for example, after doing everything, and then if your report is taking maybe 4 minutes or 5 minutes, it's not good for end user perspective, right? So your CFOs, CEOs doesn't have time to sit on top of the in front of the report and then click on the refresh and then sit for 5 minutes. So you need to build the best performance optimized reports. So the moment when you click on the report, it in fraction of seconds that should give the return the data, so that okay they can analysis on top of the data. So in order to get that optimized report, we generally choose that denormalization process. That means we combine different properties into the single table called dimension, for example. So if you think about normal database, you these are the different tables, product category and then subcategory. But okay, when you talk about the data warehouse, we combine and then keep it to the one table, maybe dimension product is okay, we call it as a dimension table. So we are combining everything and then keeping it one place, so that the people who are having a bit idea on SQL database, because if you have multiple tables and then if you want to generate the data out of multiple tables, you may have to perform a lot of joins. Definitely, it will kill the performance on your SQL server. So when you increase the number of joins and then the complexity of the query increases, so obviously that query takes time to return the data, right? So that is the reason uh, so uh, so that is the reason. So we combine data from multiple tables into the single table, no, I mean denormalized table, so that you no need to perform number of joins, because all the data which is related to three tables in this case are present in single table, right? So you no need to take, okay, perform more joins. Also, that means your query performance will be good. Okay, so that's the reason. So what we do, we followed, okay, denormalization policy. So if you reduce the number of joins at the time of generating the report, so your query performance will be good. Your report will produce the results in fraction of seconds. So that's the motive of, okay, this denormalization process. That's why. So here, this is, we call it as a data warehouse. It's nothing but database, but it's just specially designed for reporting purpose. That's why we call it as a data warehouse. So what we are doing as part of this ETL process, extracting data from multiple data sources and then transforming the data. That means we are cleaning the data and then loading into the your central repository. I mean, it's a database. It's a data warehouse. So you are extracting, transforming, and then loading the data. Okay. So once data is ready, maybe end users, okay, can connect to your database, okay, from the Excel itself. Okay. So everybody, your business knows about Excel, right? So they can connect to the Excel, to this database, and then they can generate their own reports. Okay. So you no need even IT dependency. So that's called self-serve, SSBI, self-serve business intelligence. Once the data is ready, you no need to build the reporting on top of this central repository. End user can you connect to through Excel or anything. Now we are going to talk about Power BI also, right? That is also self-serve. So since you guys knows about Excel, so I'm using Excel. So that end user connect to the Excel and then connect to this your data warehouse, and then they can just build their own reports. So you don't need IT system, right? It's like self-serve BI. Excel is, okay, one of the self-serve BI tool. So that's how it works actually. So I don't want to go into the deeper into this one, because you need have multiple layers. Once you have the data warehouse ready, you have again you build the cubes on top of your data warehouse to get even optimized performance by using SSAs. And then, okay, then you have traditional reporting tool like SSRS. So there, what you do in SSRS, you gather the requirements from the client. So based on the requirements, you pull the data from your data warehouse, you create your own data set, and then build the reporting, whatever it is, table, matrix, or charts, whatever it is, and then you publish that report to the end user, so that then, okay, end user will see that report. So think about end user perspective, right? Customer obsessed, right? When we always think about need to think about customer obsessed. How customer is, okay, going to use our reporting, how quickly, how we can, okay, reduce the. It's not only building the optimized report, and then it's all about a lot of parameters includes how we can reduce the cost to the customer, and then give the best uh, maybe reporting platform, right? So by just in the traditional BI, right? Okay, we used to have multiple layers. So okay, so as I said earlier, right? Okay, we have one more report SSAs, data warehouse SSAs, and then we'll have maybe one more reporting SSRS. So here, okay, users will connect to uh, okay, your will be at the end actually, right? So for example, data will be flow like this, and then this is the one. So this is when you think about, okay, end user perspective. So you already some of folks already knows that If you want to, let's say suppose you build one report using SSRS, or maybe uh, just before going through this one, maybe I'll just give one more idea. So people who doesn't have any BA knowledge, I think you guys already understood now that we are just okay bringing the data from disparate heterogeneous systems. We are cleansing the data and then loading into the central repository called data warehouse, right? So for this is called ETL, extract, transform, and then loading. Okay. So in order to perform this extract, transforming, and loading, so in the market you have so many tools are available. Okay, you have to do this ETL in order to perform this activity, ETL activity. You have so many tools available in the market. For example, uh, so we have, let's say suppose from Microsoft, we have SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services. You might know that we have the databases SQL Server. If you buy the SQL Server, so then you get all the tools with the free of cost, all the ETL tool, AS, and then reporting tool. So to perform this ETL activity, we have SSIS, SQL Server Integration Services. That is one of the ETL tool, which will be used to connect to your sources and then extract the data, transforming the data with the help of some kind of transformations, and then load data into the data warehouse. And also we have Informatica, which is this is also like ETL tool, and also we have Ab Initio, right? So we have this is Ab Initio is also an ETL tool, and then we have DataStage from IBM. So we even DataStage will be used as an ETL tool, okay, to extract data from different source systems and then perform transformations and then load it to the data. So you have different ETL uh, tools available in the market. So based on your uh, requirement, okay, based on your usage, based on your requirement, okay, based on your how end users going to use your reporting platform, okay, then so it's like you need to think about all end-to-end perspective and then okay, maybe propose ETL tool accordingly. Sorry, for example, if you go with Informatica, let's say you choose to use okay Informatica as your ETL tool, okay, to perform this extract, transform, and then loading. So in that case, you need to buy the database, data warehouse system. It could be SQL Server or Oracle. You need to buy that database. You need to buy a ETL tool separately. You need to purchase license for Informatica, and then you need to purchase the database because you need to build the data warehouse, right? To store the data, you need the database. So for that again, you need the license for database. So you need okay, two licenses here. It's not over, right? So once you have the data into the data warehouse, then you need one more okay, reporting platform, okay, that reporting tool that will connect to your data warehouse and then okay, build the reporting, and then finally it will go to the end user. So for example, let's say you have Cognos is your reporting tool. So for the Cognos also again you need to pay, you need to get the license for Cognos, and then okay you need to build the uh, like if you see right in this frame, you use Informatica as a ETL tool, Oracle as your data warehouse, and then Cognos as a reporting tool. So in this, okay, you have chosen okay, this is your tool set to implement the BI system in this case, right? So think about, so you need three separate licenses. Uh, Customer has to pay a lot of money to your ETL tool and then a database as well as a reporting. That's a one thing. Second thing is see the resource skill set. Uh, uh, See the resource skill set, right? Okay, you need maybe in the market, right? Okay, you may not get the resources who knows everything, who knows Informatica, who knows okay Oracle database, and then who knows Cognos. It's very difficult to get the mix resources who knows all this mix. Okay, so you need to hire resources who knows Informatica. You need to hire resources okay, who knows okay database, Oracle database. You need to hire okay resources who need to buy, we need to who knows Cognos. So you need to, it's not only the licensing cost, you're paying three licensing cost in this one, right? And then you're like paying a lot of money to getting the resources, different resources in the field, That's a second thing. Third thing, so that's okay. Users or maybe client agree to, okay, yeah, buy all these products, tools, and then agree to, like, get the resources onboarded from different platforms, sales get resources. Then once you get the tools ready, and then, okay, people resources ready, then, okay, you go and then start building the BI system, right? So in this case, what this Oracle people, right? Okay, maybe then, okay, who knows Oracle? They build the model in the sense it's a database, like it's a dimensions and facts. So they build a model, and then maybe some Informatica ETL developers. What they do, they start, okay, building ETL flows, workflows, or whatever it is in Informatica. Workflows, worklets, we have something like that, right? It's in Informatica. So they build those workflows, worklets, okay, to pull the data from all the sources and then load into the data warehouse. And then once the data is ready, then the Cognos developers will come into the picture. Okay, they start, okay, building, okay, their reporting on top of this data warehouse, right? So once they build the reporting in the Cognos based on the user requirement, and then once they ready with this reports, okay, they will publish those reports to the end user. So this is how, okay, BI end to end, right? So think about in this tool set, whatever we choose, right? We choose Informatica as a ETL tool, and for a data warehouse or database, we use Oracle, and then reporting tool is a Cognos. So let's say customer thought that, hey, this is good, okay, whatever I gave the requirements, you build the reporting, and then it's working fine for me. So I'm able to see whatever I need, and then I'm able to take the right decisions based on seeing the data, right? So in simple term, what is BI means? You have data sitting in multiple places, and then you're just converting this data into the information, right? That's what you are doing as part of this BA. You are converting your data. So because here it is the data, so that's what this end user cannot directly come here and then see this data. End user cannot doesn't understand anything out of this data. So in this layers, okay, you are just bringing the data, cleansing the data, and then loading into the central repository, and then you're building the reports on top of this data, and then, okay, you're giving it to the end user. So that means you are converting the data into the information, right? So that's called BA. Think about newspaper today. Whatever we are daily, we just read the newspaper in the morning, right? How this newspaper is building, right? So if you think about all these reporters, news reporters, right? They go to the villages, rural, and then multiple places. They get the data, and then give the input to their like in a machine, right? Okay, that newspaper machine, and then give to the input to that machine that will convert to the newspaper. Then what we are reading that newspaper. That means you're converting data into the information, right? That's what of BA. So just that analogy, you can just think about that. So now this is working fine, greatly. So we build the BA system, it's working, and then, okay, now business end users are able to use those reports and then take the good decisions in upcoming years, right? That's done. So now thing is that, let's say suppose now we got some kind of enhancements. Let's say we wanted to add some more uh, maybe fields to this report. Maybe end user wants some other fields. Let's say some extra two fields into the one other report. What they do? So in that case, okay, if you need, okay, two extra fields to the one of the built-in report, so what they do, I mean, they cannot do. They again, okay, they have to depend on your ID department. They'll say that, hey, I need these two attributes fields in the one of the reports. Okay, can you just get me those two fields? So now we know that, okay, we are in the IT field. So how long we take that to just to get those two fields? Because you have a lot of things you need to take care of it, right? Okay, then you have to do this where you need to go back and then see, okay, how these two fields are there available in your raw system. And then, okay, you need to think about what the transformation you have to do, and then you need to bring those fields to your data warehouse, and then, okay, then you need to bring it to the whatever it is, SSAs, okay, cube models, and then you need to change your dataset queries, okay, to include those two attributes, and then it will go to the lot of testing as well, unit testing, it will go to the regression testing. Then once everything is done, then you will deploy these reports into the production system. Think about how long this will take, entire life cycle will take. Sometimes it might take even months also. Just to add, okay, two attributes, two fields to the existing reports, if it go to the normal IT process, sometimes it might take, okay, months of time. So think that's what, okay, even we always think about customer obsessed, right? So think about customer side. So customer is, we are good as IT people, okay, we are getting work, and then yeah, we are spending time, and then for 1 month, and then okay, we are able to deliver some work to the user. That's okay. That's nothing wrong in that one. But think, when you think about the customer end, so customer is has to, like, wait for 1 month, okay, to get, just to get the two fields to the existing report. That's a one thing. Second thing is, customer again has to spend a lot of money to get it done actually. Those two fields, right? Again, you need, okay, ETL developers to get those two fields, and then all the fields, all the users you need actually, all the Cognos developers you need, all the DB developers you need, all the ETL developers you need to get it those two fields. See how much. One is the time. Customer has to wait 1 month of time to get it those fields into the report. That's one thing. Second thing is, again, customer has to keep on spend the money to get those fields into the reporting. That customer is already spent initial amount to build the BA system. Even on top of BA system, again, in order to get these kind of small enhancements, okay, again, customer still has to manage these set of resources, because whenever they get any enhancements, we need all these resources. Maybe we can reduce the number of count, but okay, we need different skill set of the people in the team to implement, to make these enhancements in the in future, right? So all these things, okay, when you're these are the some kind of problems in the traditional BI, right? One thing is, we need different skill set of people, and then after implementing, even for small enhancements, okay, we need again all the same set of resources, and then okay, customer has to spend a lot of money to those resources, and the customer has to wait maybe 1 month of time to get a simple field into the reporting. So these are the real problems with the traditional BI. So in order to do, like, minimize the impact on the traditional BI, so that's where, okay, the self-serve BI came into the picture. So in order to just, I'll just give one more point before going to the self-serve BI. So Microsoft, because I'm from there, so I want to promote my products also. So see, if you see, right, okay, with this is the problem with this tool set, whatever you choose, like Informatica, Oracle database, and then Cognos. So you're spending a lot of money on the licensing part as well, right? So in the Microsoft, okay, if you buy SQL Server, if you buy the database, the data warehouse, we give free tools to implement this ETL concept, that's SSIS. You don't need to buy separate license for ETL tool. It's free of cost. Once you buy the SQL Server database, you get the SSIS tool is free of cost. SSIS is free, and then SSRS is also free. You don't need to pay 3 licenses to build the BI system if you go with the Microsoft, right? So just, okay, get the license for Microsoft SQL Server, and then, okay, all the tools, okay, you'll get with free of cost. That's a one thing, right? That's the first benefit. Second benefit is, people who knows the SQL Server, they can easily understand what is SSIS and then what is SSRS. So you don't need, okay, different resources for these tool sets. Okay, same resources can work on SQL Server, same resource can work on SSIS and then SSRS. So you don't need different resources, okay, to implement and then manage this BA system. That's a second advantage, right? So these are the uh, right. These are the main things. Work, right? Okay, you customer now is not paying multiple licensing costs. That's a huge money for the customer. Second thing is resource. We don't need, okay, different resources to implement and then maintain the BI if you go with the Microsoft stack, MSBI stack. So these are the big advantages when you go with the Microsoft stack. So this is the kind of tool set selection, okay, when you go with the when you implement the BI, that's okay. So these are the things, okay, if you want to build the BI, right? Okay, uh, this is the flow, how it looks like. These are the tools which are available in the market. So always, right? Okay, then we are thinking about the customer, right? Customer obsessed. This is how, okay, the terminal now, yeah, if you think about traditional BI, these are the steps will be involved in the traditional BI. So when it comes to the self-serve BI, SSBI is nothing but self-serve BI. Now it's like everybody's talking about self-serve BI. We are moving out of the, not completely moving out of traditional BI, but yes, we are moving super fast towards self-serve BI. So when you think about self-serve BA, that means, okay, you are giving the BA to the customer itself. End users can build his own BA system and then play it around. One of the thing is, okay, Excel. For example, Excel is a self-serve BI tool, as I told earlier. Once your data warehouse is ready, BI ready. So from here, so Excel directly we can connect to the Excel to this data warehouse and then, okay, build their own reports. That's a one thing, one self-serve BI. And now we have Power BI. So Power BI is also like self-serve tool. So you can build all this, whatever we are talking about, these transformations, everything within the Power BI, but not extensively like traditional BI. Definitely, it cannot compete with the traditional BI. So for small organizations to medium organizations, they will not have much data, so they don't need the and this setup. They can only, okay, by using Power BI itself, they can connect to their sources. They can do some kind of transformations on the fly, and then they can, okay, build the uh, dashboards and then reports on the fly. They don't need to wait. Maybe, okay, we need to, like, uh, we need to, like, hire, get the licenses for all the tools, and then we need to hire the resources. It's like a very cumbersome process, okay, to implement the BA. It's very expensive for smaller to medium organizations. So for them, as self-service is very good, awesome for all these organizations. So, okay, they can directly jump in, and then they can get those Power BI, and then, okay, then whatever it is in the market, we have Tableau is also, maybe uh, you guys might have heard Tableau as well. So these, with these self-serve tools, Excel, Power BI, and then Tableau. So with these Excel self-serve tools, you can directly talk to these tables, sources, and then get the data, and then fly on the fly you can build the reports. So uh, this, like, you guys already familiar with the Excel. The way I think, yeah, 2007, Microsoft started with Power Pivot. If you guys heard Power Pivot in the Excel, right? Okay, so let me open my Excel. Can you guys see my Excel sheet now? Mm, let me see. I think you're not seeing that Excel sheet. I think you guys should be seeing my Excel sheet. So I'm using 2016. So here we have Power Pivot option, and it's integrated. So in 2010, right? So this is a plugin. You need to manually, like, enable this plugin, Power Pivot. But from 2016, right? So it's already integrated. You don't need to even manually enable that plugin. So we have in the Excel we have Power Query. You might have heard Power Query. So it's like, Power Query will use the M language. You don't need to know much about that. So I'm just giving the, just for the understanding purpose. So we have like, four concepts actually. Power Query, we have Power Query, and then we have Power Pivot, uh, and then Power View, and then Power Map. Okay, so these are the four components are already there in the Excel system since a long time. Okay, so don't think that, okay, this Power BI is a new tool which is launched by Microsoft recently. No, that's not the case. Microsoft is already using this Power BI since long time. So then Microsoft is released one by one to the Excel sheet, Excel. So look, these are the Power Query, Power Pivot, Power View, Power Map is already there in Excel from 2010. So these are different components already there in your Excel sheet. So Power Query is it's like your ETL tool. Okay, you can use by using this Power Query, you can perform some kind of transformations. That's your Power Query. And then in the Power Pivot, it's like you can say that in the database we have dimensions and facts, right? And then you will define the relationships. Same way even in the Power Pivot you do the same thing. You define the relationship in the Power Pivot, and then once the model is ready and then transformation is done, then by using Power View and then Power Map, you can build the reports in the Power View and then Power Map. So these are the different tools are already available in the Excel sheet since long time. So Microsoft what thought that okay, why do we need these different components? Okay, let's build the one more system which integrates all these tools in one place so that okay, user no need to think about what is Power Query, Power Pivot, Power View, and then Power Map. From this concept, from this idea, this Power BI came into the picture. So Power BI is nothing but this is Power BI is nothing but combination of all these tools which are available in the Excel sheet, Excel, right? So that's it. So they just integrated all these tools, all these modules, query, Power Pivot, Power View, and then Power Map, and then created one uh, Azure uh, PaaS solution called Power BI. Okay, so you might confuse with when I talk about Azure and then PaaS, right? People nowadays people are talking about it's a cloud because it's a cloud-based platform. That's what I'm saying, trying to say that. So people are talking about cloud. Microsoft is Azure, Microsoft Cloud is Azure, and then Amazon Cloud is AWS, right? Amazon Web Services. So then we have the people are talking about all the cloud. So going future is the cloud, right? So this Power BI is a cloud-based service. That means it's not on-prem. When I talk about on-premise and then cloud-based, when I say on-premise, so uh, think about if you want to build this BI platform, right? So if you want to build this BI platform, so for ETL, again, you need maybe one server, right? So to install that software, maybe SSIS or Oracle. And then for database, you need one more server. And then reporting, you need one more server, for example, right? Let's say you have three different servers. So you need to buy these three servers and then you need to configure these servers. You need to install the software and then you need the dedicated data center for to maintain the cooling for these servers, right? You might have seen your offices, you have some small data centers to maintain these servers, right? That's called data, that's called on-premise. Means you are buying your server based on your requirement, and then you are buying the resources based on your need. When I say resources, that capacity of the servers you are buying, and then then you are implementing on your own. You are managing your own data, those servers. That's called on-premise. That means they are within your on premises, and then you are managing on your own. All this it's a very long discussion when I go to the cloud, and then this is just high level. So when I say cloud-based service, you don't need to do all these kind of things. All these servers will be managed by the Microsoft. So somewhere these servers will be there in the cloud. So you don't need to think about all these servers, how we need to procure, how we need to maintain these servers, all this patching and then maintaining all those things. You don't need to think about all these servers. Microsoft will manage everything for you. That's called cloud-based service. So for Power Pivot, that's what this is, a cloud-based service. It's not on-premise service. Okay. So for cloud-based service means it's like PaaS application. So in cloud-based, we have like three terms: IaaS, uh, infrastructure as a service, and then PaaS, platform as a service, and then SaaS, software as a service. So these are the three terminologies which we use in the cloud-based. Any cloud-based, you can take it Azure, Microsoft Azure or Amazon AWS and then Google Cloud Computing, whatever it is, right? Because this is how the we segregate IaaS, PaaS, and then SaaS. So these are the like some kind of terminologies. Okay, this is Power BI is like PaaS solution, platform is a solution. That means okay, they are giving the platform everything ready. So you don't need okay, in order to buy software, in order to buy infra server, in order to install anything. Everything is there, and then you need to just make use of those Power BI and then okay, build these reports. You just think about your business side, or you just forget about how you need to set up, how you need to install everything. You don't need to spend much time on this area. Just think about only the how we can build the best reports which will be used for the business, right? So these are the talking about, that's what, as I said earlier. So Power BI is not the um, it's not the new platform. So this is already available in the system since long time. Okay, so these are the tools: query, Power Pivot, Power BI, and then Power Map. So we integrated everything into the one platform called Power BI. So it's nothing new. So uh, so now it's a one platform which covers all these tools, and then by using this Power BI, right? So okay, you can build your dashboards, your reports, and then okay, users can easily pitch in, and then okay, they can build their own reports. This is a self-serve BI platform. You no need to, once you know the data, right, a little bit about your data, then okay, you no need to build complete BI system. So from the Power BI itself, you can just directly dump the data into the Power BI server, and then okay, you can just play around, you can build your reports. That is a advantage of this self-serve. It's like even Tableau is also like self-serve BI tool. So Power BI is like improving like anything. Microsoft is putting a lot of efforts on the self-serve BI platform in the Power BI. So you guys might have maybe might have heard. So even machine learning is also like introduced in the Power BI. For example, some kind of predictive analysis. If you want to know the some kind of predictive analysis. So what is a BA? So BA is, it's not the predictive analysis system, right? So you like you are just bringing the data, massaging, and then loading into your data warehouse, right? And then you're doing analysis on top of the historical data only. So based on the historical data, then okay, that your leadership team will take the decisions in upcoming years. So it's not the predictive analysis. BA is only for the historical analysis. You have the data into the historical from last 5 years or 10 years data. So they can do that historical analysis and then take the decisions. There is no predictive analysis in the BA system. So in the Power BI, then we are adding this component as well. Okay, predictive analysis. Okay, we have the data from past, and also based on the data, so by using machine learning models, okay, then we will predict, and then we will give, hey, in upcoming year, maybe your sales may be in particular region, so and so. So that kind of predictive analysis also we are giving machine learning models in the Power BI. That's a very cool features in Power BI. And also like Q&A, you might have heard some kind of question and answer. Once you build the Power BI, so you don't need to even build the, I'll just give the some kind of features. So once we jump in, then I'll show live in action. So Q&A, questions and answers. Once you build the Power BI, so users can maybe just simply just enter, hey, what is my sales in so and so region? So automatically Power BI will detect that, hey, this query into your report, it will translate into your report and charts and the table. By on the fly, it will give you the report. So these are some kind of, because these are the NLP, natural language processing. That's what it will use, the NLP in the behind the scenes natural language processing. It will convert the text, whatever you're writing that question, and then okay, it will fire the query to your Power BI server, and then get the data, and then okay, show the data into the table, and then okay, chart format. That's how it uses. And also one of the coolest feature in Power BI. So even if you don't know anything about the data, your data, for example, you just joined the organization now, so you don't know much about your business. So Power BI, once you just give the input to your data, so you have some kind of quick insights. What Power BI does, okay, then it will take those data, and then based on the nature of the data, it will just generate its own tables and then charts across your data, so that you can just see that how patterns looks like based on the nature of the data. It's a very interesting, very lot of because we are going through AI. So in order to go to the AI, artificial intelligence, so within even Power BI, we are putting a lot of efforts to add these kind of machine learning capabilities so that it will be very easy for the end users to generate the reports. So I think we talked a lot about. So maybe I'll just quickly give uh, what will be covered as part of this Power BI. So I gave the some kind of brief introduction at the normal traditional BI, how it was implementing, and then what is a self-serve BI. So that all this Excel, Power BI, and then Tableau, all this comes under then self-serve, right? And then maybe once I think maybe Umapati or someone will talk about, okay, we'll start the classes. So once we start the classes, I want to just go through the entire Power BI, right? So so I want to just, I think maybe Umavati might have given this, I'm not sure, but I'll share my quickly notepad. So I just wanted to cover these kind of topics here in as part of the Power BI. So I want to give the just Power BI overview and then connecting to the data source. That's what. So we don't need to build this again traditional BI, right? Power BI will act as like all this. We can connect to the directly sources. We can do the cleansing by using Power Query. So you don't see it's a Power Query. It's like it will be the query window. So there we perform all the transformations, and then we can just massaging all the data. That's what transforming. And then okay, then once the massaging the data, then we can build the reports. We can enhance the reports with some kind of real-time scenarios, and then how you publish this report to the end user. That's what we wanted to know, right? So basically we are covering architecture, Power BI architecture, and then basically how we can achieve that ETL concept within the Power BI, and then some kind of real-time scenarios, how we can build the reports in the Power BI, and then how you can save that report to the end user. That's what publishing and then sharing. Okay, and then Power BI report server. I want to cover this one. Okay, this is some kind of, as I said earlier, right? This is a PaaS solution, right? So because it means it's only in order to talk to your on-premise server. So some kind of request came from the customer saying that, hey, instead of hosting entire Power BI into the cloud, can you give into the on-premise as well? That's where okay, from with those concepts, this Power BI report server came to the picture. That means it's not the cloud actually. So as like your server, you can host Power BI report server in the your data center, and then you can manage on your own. That with that earlier we didn't have this report server, so we got some kind of request from the customers, and then we introduced this Power BI report server. But remember, this report server doesn't have all the capabilities like full-fledged Power BI service. We'll go through that, what are those, and then I want to cover with the DAX, okay, DAX expressions, how we can use the DAX, okay, to perform some kind of calculations, everything in the Power BI. So even which is very useful. And then security, definitely some security, how we can implement the security, because uh, we cannot give the access to all the users in the across arc, right? So if it is a critical data, uh, for example, maybe employee salary data, so should not see everyone in the organization, right? So how we can implement the security in the Power BI. And then I want to cover, maybe at the end we'll cover some kind of real-time scenarios, so which will be you can easily take those scenarios, and then okay, it will be helpful for your interviews if you are attending for any interviews, and then even it will be helpful even if you go to any organization. So some it will give some kind of knowledge, like an understanding, and then you can use this concept and then implement your scenarios. When you actually implement, go for implementation by using Power BI. So with that, I spoke a lot. I'm stopping. Do you guys have any questions for me?
Hi, sir. Myself, Venkat.
Yeah, Venkat.
Sir, I have small questions.
Okay.
So where I have like
This conference will now be recorded.